Welcome, criminal masterminds! In Tiny Laser Heist, you'll use tiny hands to steal jewels from this mini museum. But everyone only gets one hand, so you'll have to work as a team. Each round, you'll try to pull off a new timed heist with a different team of players. Don't trip the lasers, and whoever walks away with the most cash at the end wins. As a quick overview, there are 4 main phases to the game: Recruit, Mischief, Heist, and Payout. In the Recruit phase, one player is selected as the mastermind. They'll decide which jewel in the museum they want to steal and recruit other players to join their heist team. Players on the team must collectively contribute the right colored heist cards to unlock the padlocks on the selected jewel and negotiate their payouts for the heist. Once the team has been selected, the game moves to the Mischief phase. Players who aren't selected for the heist team can use Mischief cards to add some chaos to the heist, like forcing the mastermind to cover one eye. Once all the cards have been played, we move to the heist phase. The heist team has 90 seconds to cooperatively use their tiny hands to get their jewel to the pedestal. But first, they'll have to move any padlocks guarding the jewel to other stacks of padlocks. If the team runs out of time or trips a laser, they fail and no one gets paid. But if they succeed, the team splits the money cards as they negotiated before the heist. We can't start our heist without a museum full of jewels to steal. Set up the game by building the museum frame and adding it on top of the game board. Notice there are 5 rooms in the museum. Begin your setup by placing pillows into 4 of the rooms and a jewel on top of each one. Then, randomly selecting from the bag, add 2 padlocks on top of each jewel. Next, add the pedestal to the middle of the board. Then add 5 lasers to the frame. These can be placed anywhere as long as they have no slack and aren't touching other lasers or game pieces. Finally, give every player their tiny hand. You'll also need to shuffle the heist cards and deal the correct amount to each player. Games with 3 players each get 6 cards, 4 and 5-player games get 5 cards, and 6-player games get 4. Lastly, shuffle your money cards and discard 20 of them into the box. Place the remaining cards face down. Money cards range in value from 0 to 4 million, and once the stack is gone, the player who earned the highest value wins the game. Now that the board is set up, give the mastermind mask to the player with the cleanest criminal record, and let's begin the recruit phase. The mastermind begins each round by selecting which jewel in the museum they want to steal. The more padlocks that start stacked up on top of a jewel, the more money cards stealing it is worth. But more padlocks may also result in a more difficult heist, so choose wisely. The mastermind will announce the jewel they're trying to steal, then draw as many money cards as are padlocks on the jewel to determine your potential payout. The next step is for the mastermind to recruit their team. You can have as many members on your team as you'd like, but they'll probably want a share of the payout. Heist team members will collectively need to contribute 1 lockpick card per color of padlocks on top of the jewel you're stealing. For example, this stack has 3 pink and 1 yellow padlocks, so the heist team needs to contribute 1 pink and 1 yellow lockpick card. Players can also contribute additional recruit heist cards that might add additional advantages to a heist, like extra time. Any player can contribute any amount of lockpick or heist cards. A potential recruit phase for our stack may look like this. The mastermind has a yellow lockpick card in their hand and will need a pink card. Player A may have the card, but player B wants to contribute a pink card and an extra time card. The mastermind gets final say on who is part of their heist team and must decide how to split the payout. Players can negotiate with the number of money cards, not their value, since it will be unknown. To go back to our example stack, the mastermind may want to play their yellow card and keep 3 of the 4 money cards. Player B suggests contributing their pink card and their extra time card in exchange for 2 money cards instead of 1. Sounds like a fair deal to me. After negotiations have been completed, the mastermind takes all contributed heist cards and places them into a pile face up. Now that the team is locked in, players who were left out of the heist get to have some fun in the Mischief phase. Mischief cards make things a little harder for the heist team. Cards may add movement or other restrictions to the heist, or allow non-participating players to collect money if the heist fails. A player can play multiple Mischief cards, and there's no limit to how many cards may be played on a single heist. Once all the cards are in, it's time to move to the heist phase. The heist team will have 90 seconds to use their tiny hands to physically move the padlocks off of the jewel they're stealing and move the jewel to the central pedestal. Run out of time or trigger the lasers, and the heist is a failure. Your heist also fails if you violate any of these movement rules. 1. You can move padlocks 1 by 1 or as a stack, but they all must eventually be placed on top of other stacks of padlocks in the museum. 2. You can only place padlocks on a particular stack once per heist. You'll likely need to land padlocks on multiple other jewels unless you can move your initial stack all at once. You can drop padlocks onto the museum floor as long as you follow this rule. 3. Jewels may be repositioned within a room. Once the heist is started, you can use your tiny hands to push any jewel and its stack of padlocks around within the boundaries of the room it started in. However, a jewel can't leave its starting room until no padlocks are on it. 4. You can't enter through the museum roof. You can move around the table, but players may only reach into the museum with tiny hands from the side, unless you're playing a recruit card that says otherwise. 5. Items must re-enter the museum through the same wall. Padlocks and jewels may exit the museum both accidentally or on purpose, but must always re-enter through the same wall they left from. With these rules in mind, the mastermind should take a moment to tell their heist team the plan for moving the locks and getting the jewel to the pedestal. This should take no more than a minute. Finally, start the heist music. You can find it by scanning the QR code in the instruction manual. Your heist begins as soon as any of your tiny hands enters the museum, and you'll have 90 seconds to complete it. Once the heist has been completed, begin the payout phase. For a successful heist, randomly split the face-down money cards according to your agreements made during negotiations. Remember, your hand of money cards should stay secret. If your heist failed, discard the potential payout into the box. Any player may also play payout heist cards during this phase. Once money has been paid out, we reset the board for the next heist. If the heist succeeded, place the stolen jewel and its pillow into the room that started empty last round, then draw 2 new random padlocks from the bag and place them on top. Then, the winning mastermind places a new laser onto the museum frame. If the heist failed, place any unstacked padlocks into the bag, return the jewel to the room it started in, and make sure that all the jewels have at least 2 padlocks on top of them. Then place any triggered lasers off to the side. At the end of each round, heist participants draw 1 new heist card from the deck, and non-participants may draw 2. The number of heist cards in your hand may never exceed the number you started with at the beginning of the game, so discard down to that amount. Finally, the mastermind mask gets passed to the player on your left, and heists continue until the deck of money cards has been depleted. Players add up the value of their earned money cards, not the quantity of cards. Whichever player has the highest total value of money wins. You can find answers to FAQs and the link to the heist timer in the instruction manual. We hope all the criminal masterminds out there have a blast with Tiny Laser Heist.